To support this show, go to patreon.com/5G4D. From the kitchen of the cabin, it's the 5 Games for Doomsday review. Wordsy. Rule 1. Games shouldn't make you feel stupid. Rule 2. Games shouldn't make you feel cheated. I want to say that outside the confines of this community, I don't see myself as a god. These are rules, not dictates. They are spoken, not carved into tablets. There are those here that hang terrier-like on my every word, but that's only to serve the greater good and to smooth the osmosis of the energies that greases the harmonic totality of this community. So all of you people not in the cabin, take these rules as tips, as guidelines, as facilitators of experience. I'll repeat them for your edification. Rule 1. Games shouldn't make you feel stupid. Rule 2. Games shouldn't make you feel cheated. Sometimes Rule 1 gets broken. Even meticulous design and a wealth of knowledge cannot overcome the capriciousness of the human ego. Feeling stupid or clever or beautiful or ugly or kinetic or sedentary is determined by any number of factors, internal or external, and by a cocktail of brain chemicals that can build you wings and then reveal that they're held together by wax. We all feel stupid sometimes, and that insecurity can spill into the things we hold dear. There is a happy mean, though. Games should provide challenge without pulling the carpet out from under the players. Games shouldn't be too difficult, but they shouldn't be too easy either. One thing that's worse than arcane opacity is if the designer thinks we're idiots, only capable of the simplest of tasks. We never want to feel that someone thinks we're just not clever enough. Rule 2 is easier to control. Rule 2 is playtestable, and if the designer sees their players flying into rages or looking at them as if they've just defecated into their cereal, then it's clear that there is an issue, and to ignore it is rank negligence. Games should be a test of one's intellect, one decisive mind. Games should not be an arbitrary set of punishments. Disaster should be avoidable, and even if it's not attainable, the path to salvation should be visible. This is why Scrabble is wank. It violates both of these rules. I'm constantly made to feel stupid by my inability to find words larger than dog, and then feel cheated again and again by the fact that my opponent has memorised a bloody Scrabble dictionary and is hemorrhaging points with words like gzee and yop and pquok. Words so insultingly obscure that no judge in the country would convict me for beating them to death with the plastic thing that you use to hold the tiles. Yet bloody Scrabble is exemplary, along with Monopoly and Risk and Snakes and Bloody Ladders, as if late Babylonian corn account tablets written in cuneiform were exemplary of the novel. It's only by challenging the hegemony of these rule-violating monstrosities that we can convince a wider world that games are challenging and rewarding, and not insulting and frustrating. Thankfully, some brave souls are out there fighting the good fight for us. One of these courageous frontiersmen is Gil Hova, and with his game Wordsy is seeking to remove the paralysing claustrophobia of the word game and free it from the ranks of games that patronise and frustrate. In Wordsy, letters are placed into a grid, and each letter in each column is worth a certain number of points. Players can come up with any word they want, but only the letters in the grid count as points. The first person to think of a word turns over an egg timer, which gives the rest of the players 30 seconds to scour the barren contours of their cerebella and write down a word themselves. Scores are calculated, and then the next round starts, with the player who flipped the timer barred from flipping it twice in a row. After 7 rounds, the scores are tallied, and the player with the highest score can claim some sort of transient intellectual superiority. The beauty of Wordsy is that it appeals to both the gamer and the garrulous. You can play for purely points, or to concoct the most florid list of words, or, in the best of all possible worlds, both. Wordsy is a game that rewards vocabulary and not the memorization of 2-letter words beginning with X. Wordsy allows a person to come up with words like Gesamtkunstwerk only to be gazumped by the word spiky. The rule that players can't flip the timer 2 rounds in a row stops the player with the quickest brain breaking the game, and allows the more meticulous players to construct their perfect word. The wonderful thing about Wordsy is that it fails to violate either of my rules. Through the manipulation of the board or the ripples of the brain, players feel that they have leveraged their cognitive skill. This may be in the form of coarse and vulgar points, or in the true and moral victory of dredging up one of those arcane words you read in an Evelyn Waugh novel once. Suborn, for instance. Also, players don't feel cheated because the game has allowed them to take a path, but this path can be changed at any time, and sometimes your florid excursions into the miscellanea of the language can yield actual points, which only heightens your fragile sense of rectitude. Finally, there's a word game that works. Wordsy rewards players in the way they choose to be rewarded. Pretension is the home of the insecure and the terminally egocentric, and Wordsy allows me to indulge that pretension. And in that, I have found a home that allows me to really spread out. You can support this show by going to patreon.com/5G4D.